INFJs need to have a goal in mind, and a goal to not just aspire to, but to direct themselves toward. If it's a goal that is situated, say, like 5 years into the future, that's actually quite good, because it means that for those 5 years, you're going to be directed and you're going to have an existence that is filled with meaning. It might not solve all your problems. You'll still encounter many of the issues that are well known to INFJs: dissociation, alienation, hazy social relationships, disembodiment, feeling misunderstood, feeling like you're not fitting in modern society. These issues are going to still exist, on top of all the practical logistical issues that inferior SE, to borrow this concept, very useful concept, entails. That there's a lot of practical situations in life, and I find that as we get older it gets more difficult, because you have more responsibilities, including more practical logistical responsibilities. It's going to be challenging. But if you are someone who has a vision of where you want to be in 5 years' time, it will massively help you, because it will energize you through the instilling of value, meaning, and purpose, which, by the way, is the topic of my book, The Infinite Soul, which just came out on the INFJ, looking at how the INFJ mind and consciousness can manifest in external reality, even in the somewhat hostile modern world for us, in ways that promote value, meaning, and purpose. This book also needs, consider getting it if you haven't yet. This book also needs reviews, so if you have loved the book but not left a review yet, please consider it on Amazon. It would help with the referencing. And so this idea of meaning, value, and purpose, they're obviously intangible in some ways. They're not materialistic. And often people, including INFJs, sometimes they can make the mistake to think that they are materialistic and that they need to be connected with a well-earning salary. And it's not the case. Of course, you want to earn a salary that is at least allows you to exist and be reasonably comfortable. But I would say 90% of the meaning that you're likely to find is going to be intangible. It's not going to be tied to money. So really don't neglect that, because you could easily lead a whole life where you're less than happy, less than fulfilled, because you haven't really considered that possibility. But that raises the question, how do you identify the objective, the goal? Because there are as many potential visions, objectives, and goals as there are INFJs. I mean, because they are INFJs, they might share this goal that is non-materialistic, that has this kind of idea of intangibility and transcendence, but there still can be so many different goals that you can set for yourself. And I think that a lot of INFJs, a lot of people, but also a lot of INFJs, they struggle through life sometimes, even though they have understood that they need this long-term goal, that they need to be fixated on an idea. This is a phrase I used recently, and I think it's a good phrase. Finding the goal, being able to integrate it, is actually half the battle. In fact, I think it's 90% of the battle. There's always this meme that crops up in my mind. I literally saw this meme 7 years ago. It's not even a well-made meme, and it's not, I don't think it was viral in any way, but it struck me. Because it said, it was an INFJ meme, it said, I was born here to accomplish my destiny, ... I just have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And I think in many ways, this really resonates with the INFJ experience. In the same way that NI can cause us to arrive at particular thoughts and conclusions without really understanding how we got there, this notion of prescience that I talk about in the Ecstatic Soul, which is my first book on the INFJ, looks more at the detail of INFJ mind, consciousness, and how it manifests existentially. So for a deep understanding of the INFJ mind, the Ecstatic Soul is the way to go. The link is below as well. Obviously, the prequel and the sequel, you can see they look similar. That's on purpose. Identifying, being able to articulate what this goal is 90% of the battle. It's very hard, and it's not always easy to quite basically pin it down, and INFJs can spend years just frustratingly running after the articulation of this goal. They already know they need to fixate on an idea, but they just don't know what it is. And I think that in videos that I'm going to be making in the future, I will try to drill down into more of this. I have a conviction that it's also linked to the nature of FE being a social function. It's going to sound weird, maybe to you at first, but unlike, say, INFPs or FI users, INFJs often need a kind of dynamic interaction with other people to help them clearly articulate what the goal is going to be. Despite how subjective, personal, individual NI is in many ways, the nature of NI-FE means that it's often by interacting with other people who understand us, first of all, and understand what makes us uniquely ourselves, that we can carve out what this goal is. And I think in this respect, the islands of spirit concept that I discuss in the Infinite Soul, which I read a little extract from the book recently where I explored islands of spirit, those domains that exist in your life that are, you know, set with a few other people, not many others, on a non-instrumental footing where you exchange on a free basis, where NI is allowed to float freely. I think these islands of spirit are going to play a role in being able to not identify that there needs to be a goal. That's assuming that's already been identified, the first step's achieved, but what this goal is. Because again, from INFJ to INFJ, there's going to be differences, but it's often collectively that we arrive at the answer. And once we have that, our possibilities are huge, and we end up being surprised at how resilient we can be in situations where maybe in the past we found ourselves not to be resilient and to suffer from the mere fact of existing in the material world because we didn't have the energizing force of being projected toward that goal at the subterranean level and activating us all the time. Okay, so yeah, if you enjoy this video, you know, give me a like. Those two books I already mentioned. I have a Patreon page that you can support down below, you know, to keep the channel going. Simple as that. You know, I can really do with your support anywhere from €3 a month. Consider it. You can interact with me. You can access to some bonus content soon enough. I'm going to be sharing like extract from Carl Jung because I'm going through the complete works of Carl Jung, and I'll share extract that I think are very relevant, and I'll have a bit of commentary there. So there's interactions and growing community. Thank you so much to my current supporters and future ones. And yeah, I will see you very soon, guys. In the meantime, take care.